All right, let's talk about one of the toughest places a person can find themselves, feeling completely and utterly broken. If that's you right now, this is for you. We're going to walk through a guide for how to reset your life and build a real comeback, starting with a feeling that might hit very close to home. And that feeling, it's not just a thought, it's a physical weight. It can feel so real, so absolute. But the key word here is illusion. What feels like a dead end, a final chapter, it's almost always something else entirely. It's not the destination, it's just a very difficult passage. So, first things first, let's try to understand what's actually happening in this collapse phase. It is absolutely crucial to see this not as some kind of personal failure, but as a known part of the process. I mean, if you look at history, nearly every strong, resilient person you can think of went through a period just like this right before their biggest growth spurt. This means we have to make a huge mental shift. Our gut reaction, our fear, tells us that a breakdown means we failed, it's over. But the truth, the reality is that a breakdown is a transition. It's life in its own brutal way, moving you from an old way of being to a new one. And what's the fuel for this transition? Yeah, it's pain. But we have to redefine what that pain is for. It's not a punishment. It's not random cruelty. Pain is preparation. Life is applying just enough pressure to forge you into someone who can handle what's next. And here's exactly what that pressure is designed to do. Think of it like a controlled burn that clears out all the dead wood. It's here to remove the illusions you were living under, to burn away the false relationships that were never going to support you anyway, to get rid of the weak habits that were keeping you stuck, and finally, to shed that outdated identity that you've simply outgrown. Okay, so we're starting to get the why behind this whole collapse. Now let's get practical. Let's talk about the what. What do you do today? When everything feels like it's spinning out of control, there's only one winning strategy. Focus like a laser on the one thing you actually can control, and that's your very next move. This question right here, this is your new lifeline. For so long, you've probably been asking, why did this happen to me? But that question is a trap. It just drains your energy and gives you zero answers. This new question, what is the next small action? That's where all your power is. It pulls you out of the past and into the present, where progress can actually happen. And that next action? It doesn't have to be some huge, life-altering thing. In fact, it's usually the opposite. Real, lasting change is almost always built on the boring fundamentals. These are the simple, disciplined things you can do every day. Motivation comes and goes, right? But these small physical acts, they build a foundation you can count on, no matter how you feel. Let's circle back to pain for a second, but with a new layer. We said it was preparation. Let's get even more specific. Your pain is your training data. It is not meaningless suffering. It is a powerful feedback loop, giving you critical information that you desperately need for your next move. This is how you actually do it. This is how you extract the lesson from the loss. You see, every painful experience is a teacher. Betrayal? That's not just a wound, it's a masterclass on how to set boundaries. Failure? That's not the end of the road, it's a practical seminar on what strategy doesn't work. And loneliness? Well, that teaches you the invaluable, unshakable skill of self-reliance. You're learning from all of it. And please, remember this. The data you're collecting right now, the lessons you're learning in the dark, they're not just for you. You're forging a map. One day, the story of how you got through this will be the light that helps someone else find their way out of their own darkness. Now let's talk about one of the hardest parts of all this, the external pressures. A huge source of pain when you're in a collapse is looking around and feeling like you're falling behind everyone else. So this next part is absolutely critical. You have to detach and reclaim your own timeline. You have to put their rulers away. Seriously. Your journey is custom-made. It's unique to you. Comparing your chapter 2 to somebody else's chapter 22 is just a guaranteed way to feel miserable. Your path is your own. End of story. And here's a powerful counter-narrative to our culture's obsession with getting everything done by age 30. You know, success that comes too early, too fast, can often be pretty fragile. But success that's built on a deep foundation of wisdom, resilience, and real-world experience, that's the kind of success that lasts. Your life isn't delayed, it's deepening. It hurts like hell when people walk away during your hardest times. But let's try to reframe this. What if it's not betrayal? What if it's filtration? This period has a natural way of filtering out the people who are only there for the sunny days. And in doing so, it makes space for the people who are really meant to be in your life for the long haul. All of this leads to a really profound truth. The most important, most meaningful growth, it doesn't happen on a stage. It doesn't need an announcement or a round of applause. Real, sustainable growth happens quietly when no one else is watching. So this becomes your new mission. Your job is simple. You're here for learning quietly, healing privately, and just improving day by day. This work requires zero announcements. It seeks zero validation from anyone else. Trust me, the results will speak for themselves when the time is right. All right, we've looked at the collapse, the tools, and the outside world. This is the final and, frankly, the most important piece of the puzzle, the internal work. It's about how you relate to the person you used to be. You simply cannot build a new future if you're constantly at war with your past. So let's re-examine some of those things you might beat yourself up for. You trusted someone and they let you down. Were you stupid? No. You trusted because you had hope. And hope is a strength, my friend, not a weakness. Forgiving yourself for being hopeful is a sign of incredible maturity. And what about that thing you tried that didn't work out? You didn't fail because you were inadequate. You failed because you had the guts to try something hard in the first place. Failure is just proof that you were in the arena fighting. There is absolutely no shame in that. Or maybe you stayed in a job or relationship too long. You look back and think it was weakness, but it wasn't. You stayed because you cared. You were operating from a place of loyalty and compassion. You have to make peace with that person you were by recognizing their good intentions. So after all this work, the reframing, the boring fundamentals, the silent growth, what's the outcome? What's on the other side? Well, a new version of you starts to emerge, one whose mind is calm amidst the chaos, whose confidence is quiet and deep, not loud and fragile, and whose strength, well, it's visible to everyone without you ever having to say a word about it. And that brings us to the ultimate paradox, the big takeaway from all of this. That phase of your life that felt like the end, the one that you were sure was going to destroy you, that was actually the very thing that built you. The fire wasn't there to burn you down. It was there to forge you. So we end here. The focus shifts. It's no longer about what you lost or what broke. All of that was just the raw material. The real question, the only one that matters now, the one that holds all the power for your future, is this: who are you becoming?